that when you decide that you are done running around for money, what you have built will start looking after you. Ladies and gentlemen, no one is coming to save Africa. No foreign aid is coming to deliver us. No external help will deliver us. The change that Africa needs, as the theme of this year's program implies, the Africa we want can only happen when we Africans take responsibility and move on to manage our resources, beginning with managing our personal finance. On this note, I'd like to say thank you very much, and I'm sure we won't just say words here. We will be able to go out there and match our words with actions. Thank you very much.
Wow, please put your hands together. We can do way, way, way better than that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, now you know why he's called the Wealth Coach Omiete. Please put your hands together for him one more time. So I think the keynote address we just listened to is actually very important. The reason being Africa as a continent. I mean, we had the pre-event meet and greet yesterday, and I'm trying to look into the crowd to see. But then she said something. When people think about Africans, the first thing that comes to their mind is poverty. And it's not in the positive light, it's in the negative light. And we are gathered here today to change the narrative. We're gathered here to be pace setters, change makers. So please, one more time, put your hand together for yourself. If you are here under this roof, it means you are a trailblazer. Are you a trailblazer? Look to your neighbor and say, I'm a trailblazer. Oh, I gotta see some says, I'm a trailblazer. Oh, Kathy, I like that. So now we're going to be moving on. We have a very brief fireside chat. Please help me put your hands together as I make welcome. I am so honored to be the one to welcome. He's called the godfather of Nigerian comedy. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Ali Baba. Please keep clapping. We can do better than that, ladies and gentlemen. Many of you, when you talk about, Nigerian comedy, Ali Baba. I had to add some, energy. It's not Ali Baba, it's Ali Baba. Growing up, I watched a lot of your comedies, and honestly, it's truly an honor to be under the same roof with you today, sir. Thank you so much. And now to moderate this fireside chat, please put your hands together as I make welcome on stage Ambassador Sunian Orion. Please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. Keep clapping until he comes up the stage. Okay, unfortunately, Ambassador Sunian Orion is not present for the fireside chat. In replacement of that, please put your hands together as we make welcome Ambassador Rume Ogane, the founder of Ecosystem Prestige Africa. Please keep putting your hands together. So, okay, I heard you talk yesterday. Oh my God. When Ambassador came in yesterday, he came in with a lot of energy, which I really enjoyed. So please enjoy this fireside chat. Thank you so much.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Okay, it's for African people who don't understand Pidgin, today you have to learn Pidgin. Where we're from, it's a commodity. Pidgin is a commodity. And in the new Africa that we are looking out for, Pidgin English should be one of the lingua francas to pivot the Africa that we want. So Nigerians, Nigerians that are here who are Pidgin English lovers, are we good? Okay. So why I'm saying that is I wanted to say a word. This na bros. You know, in truth is this. If we look at the topic, what we're talking about is the Africa we want, and we are looking at responsibility, we're looking at advancement, looking at your career in the span of, I think, close to 4 decades, sir? Close to 4 decades, you've been able to breed almost 3 generations of young creatives. What do you think Africa should be doing, because that has kept you consistently building young creatives in the last 40 years? What do you think young Africans who are sitting here, who would go back to their country and want to take responsibility using what they do as a channel, what do you think they are missing, and what do you think we can begin to get right going forward?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. And thanks for inviting me here. I think the first thing that young Africans need are the toolkits. The toolkits to become valuable. I'll say that again. The toolkits to become valuable. Those are the things that are missing from every young person in Africa. The ones that are lucky then find people who instill those toolkits before the challenges of life hit them. If you take about between 40 to 60% of the youth, a lot of them that succeed are the ones that have those toolkits. The ones that don't have the toolkits have those who have the toolkits and instill it on them no matter what time they meet them. What we're doing right now is, let me borrow this, is like teaching the people who didn't carry extra oil, the 5 maidens that didn't carry extra oil. You're starting to teach them the importance of carrying extra oil. I don't know if that makes sense. Meanwhile, it was someone or some people who told the other 5 virgins, just in case, take extra oil. So we have not, and that telling them to take extra oil is giving them toolkits to survive. Why do we tell our children to go to school? Why do we make them study all kinds of subjects? We make them study all those subjects because we know in studying those subjects, you then glean from them what directions they should take. They're studying the subjects, you know, this one is strong in maths, this one is strong in sciences, this one is strong in literature and English. You then begin to groom and channel them towards that. So people look at their children and say, this one is going to be a lawyer, this one argues a lot, this is going to be a lawyer. Or they say, this is a very rational guy. He takes his time before he does anything. This guy is going to be a politician, or he's going to be somebody who is in mentorship or some, or administrative industry. But you see, we fail to do that. I'll give you an example. It's a common thing in Africa for us not to look at training a child from when he's age 0 to 6. We just give them rudiments of, oh, come here, go there, come. But you see, the people who have experienced challenges in life know that from the time the child is born, you start to train them, which is why the Bible says, train them the way they should go. So by the time they are grown, they will not depart from it. You notice there are many people here, by the time their children are 1 or 2, they put them in daycare. They know color before they are 2. They know shapes before they are 3. They can write before they are 4. And then by the time they are 4, 5, before they are 3 even, they can speak some word of English, they can communicate. Even the ones that learn their languages can communicate. what you've done is you've given the toolkit.
Yeah.
What then happens is there are some African society that decide that when a child is 6 is when he should go to primary school.
Okay.
So the person has lost.
So that means policy, nation policy also plays a very major role.
Not just policy, intentional policy.
So how do we relate that now to the Africa we want? Because in Africa we have AU, we have ECOWAS, all the other regions have their various associations, and we are young people. One of the reasons we're here is because we are in these communities, and these communities are not given those tools. So we are here now to say, okay, how do we take responsibility and drive the process even when we are not being given those tools? So can you just a little bit look at it from the aspect of the African continent, the various communities, leadership, and these tools that you talk about?
So first, leadership has failed us.
Yeah.
So we can't look to leadership.
Okay.
We need to look at the family unit.
Okay.
And we need to, you see, the biggest problem you have with family unit is that the illiteracy of most families, the heads of the family, mother and father, have influenced the children to the point where they then limit the children and don't make them aspire like they should have.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is begin to empower parents so that they can raise their children properly. But to do that, you also then need this government that is not doing well. Because you then need them to provide
basic enabling
now, so those basics include primary education. You know, when you hear people say, oh, kindergarten, preparatory school, it is not because the children don't learn. It's because the children are not prepared to learn. I don't know if you...
Yes.
So it is not because the children don't learn. It's because they're not prepared to learn. So I'll give you an example. My daughter, who is 18 now, learned how to play the piano from age 3 to 4. She got a teacher who, when we saw that she liked sitting with the piano, we got a teacher who now came and was teaching her to play notes, different notes. By the time she was 4, 5, 6, she could play do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and play it back. And after a while, she started trying some
new notes, new chords.
Some notes and chords. Now, if you then put a child with her, guess what? The other child would either be intimidated or show signs of rebellion. Because the child will feel like this person is chancing him or chancing her.
So with what you've just said now, let's look at it from the Africa we want perspective. Recently in South Africa, we had riots at the Nigerian embassy where South Africans were agitated about their fellow Africans, but especially Nigerians living in South Africa. And this, apart from even that, other countries in Africa, we're having visa challenges in terms of economic boundaries and all that. How do we take responsibility in driving the Africa we need, using the various institutions that are valuable and with what we have? Because at the end of the day, everyone here is a potential leader in an industry and a sector, and they're going to go back into the country with the same narrative which has kept Africa back for the last 6 years. They don't understand the principle of collaboration. So how do we do that?
Let me address this issue of the reference you just made, that led to somebody going to somebody's country and trying to plant a king.
Yeah.
You see, in Africa here, we believe in polygamy. But the law of America says polygamy is not allowed. There was a time in Dubai when you're walking around the shops, Emirates store, malls, and also, you see signs that say no public display of affection. I don't know if anybody understand. They say no public display of affection. It means that they don't like public display of affection. Then you then say, because where you come from, it's okay to kiss your wife and show
Public affection.
and show public affection as much as you can, because it shows that you love her. What will happen? You run foul of the law. So understand, you see, tolerance and emotional intelligence. These are all the things that you train a child with. And then citizens also have to learn that. If you do not learn that and you try to, because even here in Nigeria, you find a case where even in some states, they tell the Igbos, you cannot come here and be having an Oba and having an Igwe in our own community. So what you need to know is that we need to respect these people's environment, first of all. We are guests here. You cannot come to my house as a guest and begin to order my chef around without giving you the... So we need to train people to understand. And that understanding comes from a proper training that should be given to people, child, citizens. And I have not, since this matter started, heard the Nigerian government say there is a communique to all Nigerians living that you should respect the practices and beliefs of the people where you are domiciled. So, first, we're bad parents to our people who are out there.
Okay.
So, parenting is an issue.
Yeah.
Personal education is also an issue.
Yeah.
Then you can see some children. Okay, some people don't have parents, but people guided them all the same, and they listen to advice. Some orphans that are doing better than people who had both parents, because those children also listen. But you have to also groom them and train them well. I'm not going to go to Dubai and say, okay, there was a time that women could not drive in Dubai, and it was from the time of Muhammad, peace be on his name, Prophet Muhammad, that women could not drive. It had a background, a historical background, that women were stopped from driving, and it came from, I read religious studies and philosophy, and this was something that we studied. It was because women, when they rode horses back then, or camels or donkeys, used to get turned on. And so they transferred that understanding of a woman riding a camel to main transportation. And they moved it on to whether it's a bicycle, it's transportation. Whether it's a bike, it's transportation. Whether it's a car, it's transportation. Until that understanding changes, you live with the rules that the people have. Even when you're in a class and the teacher says, keep quiet, the fact that at home they let you say anything you want to say doesn't mean when you come to class, you behave like... They said if you don't train a child well at home, he will expose your failures in public.
Okay, so now let's bring it home now to economy and development within the African continent. Collaboration, most times in Africa, nations, the African community tends to be competing with itself in a whole lot of things and trying to sabotage itself directly and indirectly on a whole lot of things. And at the same time, it's not benefiting from the international community either by trade, either by knowledge transfer, either by technical support. So what do you think going forward? Do we here who are drivers in our sector and want to be who are icons for Africa, what do you think we should be doing going forward to be able to drive collaboration, to be able to drive knowledge transfer amongst ourselves? I don't believe that, for example, look at the successes we've had with Paystack, Flutterwave, but at the same time, you find out that they cannot expand freely in Africa. But Uber can come in here and expand freely in Nigeria. So indigenous collaboration is a challenge, with your level of experience, having traversed both social and economic parameters, having been in the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, haven't been with presidents, haven't been that vast, what do you think young African icons should be doing in that area?
Okay. So what answers this question that you just posed now is behavior and attitude. And I'll go with the simple ones. Global standards, maintaining global standards are needed to break into international market. And the people in the international market, when they look inside, they see a watered down system and they key into it as well. Do you understand now? You want to aspire into the global system and you key into it and observe all those standards. Which is why if you are exporting something, like during Dora Akinyi, you had to go to Ghana to get your grains and drugs graded. Then she fought up to a point that they said you can grade in Nigeria. It means that if your products are not of that standard, it will not be accepted in the international market. Right? And it also means that every time you want to play in the international market, you have to upgrade yourself and move yourself up to a standard that will be accepted internationally. Now, when the people in the international market are looking inside to say, how do we get into this market? They then see the loopholes and everything, and they're key into it as well. It is the same reason that a guy that has a technical degree that went to a technical school can be brought by an Indian to become a supervisor over somebody that has a BSc. Because he will come as an expatriate. The BSc person will work under him because the person knows that your labor laws are weak. Your labor laws are also part of the problem because you then allow 200 people when you said only 50 people can come from a particular country at a time. After a while, you then look and see that you even have 700. Why? You do not even have a censor system. You do not have a censor system at all.
So media can okay, right.
So you don't have a system, no biometrics, which is why you also can't play in international Interpol system, where the U.S. government now says we give you visa-free entry. Because when the person you've given visa-free entry commits a crime and runs back to your country, you can't track him. So when a country sets up that system well, think about it. At the time of Jesus, there was a census every year. At the time of Jesus, population was not this much. But the Romans made sure there was a census, so they knew everybody and every bandit. But this is 2026. We do not even know how many people are in Nigeria. We estimate.
A lot of African countries estimate population.
Exactly, they estimate population.
So business can plan.
Now, don't forget that with that estimation, you then budget for that estimated number, which means it's wrong. Ask the Nigerian government today, how many blind people do we have in Nigeria? They don't know. Ask them, how many retirees do we have in Nigeria? They won't know. How many aged people who did not work in the civil service so you can track whether they are retirees or not? They don't know. How many children do we have in Nigeria born today? They don't know. There are people who are in the villages and all those places that have had about like 20, 30 children in the last 1 week that the government would not know. But every day a child is born in a developed country like America, they know. His social security number is already waiting. So if that child grows to become a thief, they know how to track him. So what happens is we have a system that is tailored to fail. And so whatever system you place on it will not succeed, even if it's election. If it's security, it will not succeed as well. Why do you feel that after about like 6-7 years, a crime that was committed, they then find something and say, these fingerprints remind us, in fact, tells us that there was a particular gun that it matches, and they go pick the guy. Here, armed robbers will come to a house. rob, take coffee, eat. Eat whatever you have, touch everything, rape somebody, leave semen in the person's body. But they still can't find the person. Why? Because there's nothing to match. So there's no database to match up. Now, politicians like it that there's no database, because without database, they can then tell you we got 10,000 votes from that area, when truly that place should not have had about like 5. And it was structured to fail from the start by the British, who made sure that the number of the people in the north was a lot more than the number of the people in the south. And then you then have a 2/3 majority to change anything. And they made sure that the senators and reps from the north are higher than the ones in the south. So if the south wants to do something, it can't work. So most times it is like what everything is intentional. Want development to happen, you have to be intentional about it. Which is why you find a lot of the rich men in the north are intentional about their children getting quality education, and are not going to just thank you, and are not going to thank you, and are not going to just you can bring it down a bit. Don't hear me on the road. So they know that if they leave their children to the whims and caprices of the society, they will be like all the other ones that are sitting on the street.
So bringing it now to the Sahel Alliance, do you think, because we are young Africans, we are entrepreneurs, I think patriotism is a very, very important core. If we are all looking at the Africa we want, we must first understand the responsibility of patriotism, then tying it to the Sahel Alliance between Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Do you think that strategy got it right? Do you think they got it right? And do you think that forms like a blueprint in terms of us being, because from what you said, the British, the Portuguese, the French, the Swedes, the Americans, these are people who own, yes, they own various structures and countries within the African continent. So do you think that for us to achieve the Africa we want, we need to, do you think towing the Sahel road, do you think that's a road to take?
First off, you need to understand how the mindset of the colonial masters were. Now, the Sahel, especially the Francophone area, the problem they were, even after they had gotten independence, they were still enslaved by economic values. So one, they used CFA, which is an under currency of the francs. Now, if they have 3 CFAs, it's converted to 1 franc. And then the franc is not even as high as the euro. So if you're converting the 3 CFAs to euro, you're probably going to get some change. Now, they will give the money to France, who is their banker. France will convert it to 1 franc, the CFA to 1 franc, and then sometimes it's 5 CFAs to 1 franc, and then convert that to euro. But you see, in the process of the conversion, France has made 3, maybe 4 CFAs. And so France was making money for themselves. And so most times, 20 to 30% of what kept France alive was from the Sahel. All their monies routed through their banks. And so France was surviving on that. As soon as these guys broke away, Burkina Faso understand that most of it is just economically driven. I say that to say this. The protest you're seeing now and the rise in that fact is because they are not taking charge of their life. Our money, our resources are ours, and they begin to work towards making sure they get value for those resources and making the money as well. Even France now, if you need anything from them, you pay the value that euro has for it. So if the euro is selling it for 2 euros, you pay the 2 euros for it. You know that that has given them more money than France will have given them. So exposure, education is also one. Corruption is another big thing. Until that is taken care of, we will not go anywhere. Which is why we said education is very important. But a lot of people, especially in the north, that are not properly educated, know, politicians mostly, that once people are enlightened and educated enough, they would ask for what they deserve. Which is why the nationalists, Obafemi Awolowo, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Sadana, and the rest of them, which was why they started, because they were educated enough. And so the British are thinking, you see, we gave these boys education, see what they've done. And the politicians learning from that and making sure that they do not give the education that is needed for people to be, exactly, just suppress them. Keep them at the rank at daily level. So that if you give them a bag of rice, next question.
Because the truth is, you see, why it's very important to have this conversation. Now, do not forget our African brothers. This conversation is about Africa. In as much as most of the examples are made in Nigeria is being used as example, but
let me interrupt you here.
Yes.
Every African knows that what I'm saying is not about Nigeria alone.
Yeah.
The reason Mandela could fight for South Africans was education. The reason a chief in Zulu couldn't challenge the white man is because he couldn't read. He couldn't demand for anything because he was just okay with the basics. And the apartheid regime made sure that all the people that should have gone to school and gotten education did not get it, because if they got it, they would demand for more. Steve Biko, even the Reverend Tutu, all of them got education, and that is why you see the difference in their lives. Those can also, but you see, once the people are not educated enough to know and be informed, it is hard for them to demand for anything. That's the thing.
But when you have an educational system, like looking at the Nigerian educational system, the curriculum is moribund or outdated is an overstatement. It is not compatible with today's economic realities. But you find out that we still have those same curriculums parading our institutions. Same curriculums that cannot tackle current economic challenges, current social challenges. Those are still the same things they teach. What do you think we should do about this?
You see, when our nationalist fathers fought for our independence, they did not have this much subject. They read Latin, they read religious studies, they read English literature and classics. Those, and then mathematics. Those were the subjects that they learned. So it makes me believe that all that is needed for a child to grow to become someone of worth is the ability to read, write, comprehend, and articulate. So failure to do that is the reason why, I'm not digressing, but it will drive a point.
Yeah.
So my daughter was about 6. No, she was about 4. And we have cousins come from Apapa, Ajegunle, they came. And they were playing PS3 at the time. And so she was trashing
some of them. So she played with about 2 guys who came from Ajegunle, and she beat them seriously. And they called them to come and eat. But because he beat the boy wanted to play more games. And the boy was insisting, let's play, no, play one more. She now said, I'm going to get food. But she now said, so let's play. And said, I want to beat you. And my daughter said, you wish. And the fight ensued. And we came, what is it? Would I ask the boy, what thing happened? He said, I said, no, we'll play. They call me wish. I don't know if you got that. You wish. It's not calling somebody a witch. But the understanding of the boy from Ajegunle is that meant that he's a witch. So most times, the understanding of the people also drives your policies or deepens your policies. So you put a road sign that shows children crossing, and the guy that is a driver does not even know what that road sign means. Or you say, don't do more than 20, 30 kilometers, and he does not know what the road sign is. You always catch him. If you mark the road and say, these yellow lines here means that you can't be caught inside, the guy is looking and seeing that there's no car coming from the other side.
But now, looking at it from leadership angle, we've had young Africans who have taken positions of leadership in these various areas at certain points in our lifetime. Do you think they have preferred any solution, they have performed well, or do you think there's still miles to go looking at the future ahead of us?
Okay. The explanation I give is, if you have a rickety car and you bring Lewis Hamilton to drive it, he won't win Formula 1. Should I explain it again? So if you bring Lewis Hamilton and tell him to drive a 504 to race against an S-Class of 2026, he can't beat the car. What I'm saying, the structure is already in the past. Until you overhaul all of that, it will not work. You may have a sound system you may have a car that has been serving you for so many years. But when you get in the car and you can't charge your phone once you put it on this thing, it means that some technology has left it.
Yeah, so you, like the keynote speaker, you are not championing the fact that we young people in this generation,
we need to upgrade.
We need to upgrade. We need to take charge and lead in the direction of what the results we want to achieve, or like the person you want to see in the mirror, you need to be that person in that sector that you are playing. Is that basically what you're saying?
Yes. The pastor that says, give me that old-time religion, is not using a scroll. He's not using a tablet. He's not using a tablet as tablet that Moses carved from the rock. But he says, give me that old-time religion, but he's preaching from a tablet. So what does that mean? You upgrade. You don't go to some churches now and see ceiling fans. Everywhere is air conditioned, like here. So what does that mean? It means that even the churches upgraded. At the time Moses was leading the Israelites out of Egypt, they were carving the 10 Commandments on stones. At the time of Jesus, it was on a scroll. After a while, it was on papyrus. After a while, you can have the Bible now on your phone. So we must grow with development. But before you then grow with those development, you must train them. I can't say it enough. If you do not bring the people up with you, your policies can't work.
Wow.
Your policies can't work.
Okay, so your final word. Is there anyone who would like to draw in relation to your country or in relation to the conversation we've been having? We've branched various aspects in the conversation. We've looked at economy, we've looked at politics, we've looked at leadership, we've looked at education. So in relation to your own country, is there any one of us here who would like to draw a conversation before we wrap up? Because
before they come, you see, the fear of the South Africans is palpable and is understandable, because this is another appetite coming again. It's how they see what the Igbos are doing, because as it is, they have a lot of young men that do not have the mindset and the drive that Nigerians have.
Very true.
So it's hard for you to see one Zulu boy go and buy second-hand clothes, arrange them, and begin to sell on the street. But it is possible to see them in the evening sitting down with a bottle of Coke and one loaf of bread, like, you know, and dancing and just happy. But you see, you will not see somebody who comes from the Igbo stock do that same thing. He's there to make money, he's there to live large, but he has to earn the money. So what happens is, you must first train the minds of these people. The mindset is what then begins to offset any other thing. But if the mindset is still stuck in the past, it will be hard. A lot of you go to some gyms and you see the equipment people are using to train. And then, so what it means is, you must give the people the tools, like I said.
Yes.
Train them well. Let them wake up to knowing that, because once you give them, they can identify opportunities and what to do with those opportunities, what they can apply to those opportunities.
Very true.
But failure to give them the tools, when they say, I don't know if you...
He's a wealth of knowledge, but there is so much at their other activities. So once again, we want to thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to share constructively with us here. Please can we give him a round of applause? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Keep those hands jamming together as they exit the stage. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's the spirit of Pan-Africanism right there. Please put your hands, ladies and gentlemen, one more time for... I'd also like to call on the convener. We can take a picture. Thank you so much. Photographers and media partners, please be on the stage so we can have a picture with the convener and the moderator. Okay, can I please call on all the speakers to please come to the stage so we can take one group picture? All speakers for this auspicious event, please make your way to the stage so we can take a group photograph.
But if I climb the train, you don't pass you.
speakers for the 100 Iconic Personalities of the Year 2026 Business and Leadership Summit. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Mr. DJ. Ladies and gentlemen, the personalities that just graced the stage are the distinguished speakers for this year's 100 Iconic Personalities of the Year Business and Leadership Summit. And most of them are going to be receiving awards and honors later tonight at the award and gala night. Now, very quickly, we move on to the next item in the program. I'd like to make welcome to the stage a man who is the true definition of the word serial entrepreneur. Mr. David Odige is an entrepreneur and systems builder who has been creating businesses since the age of 12, from early ventures in retail to running a high six-figure sneaker resale operation before adulthood. Mr. David, with a background in history and economics, his works is shaped by a deep interest in how markets, technology, and systems evolve over time. Now, after an early success and hard lessons learned, of course, in cryptocurrency, he returned to Nigeria to found Polygate Group, where he is building an AI-powered revenue system that helps businesses capture lost income and scale more efficiently. Mr. David's solutions have already delivered significant revenue growth across the hospitality sector and are now expanding into finance, energy, agriculture, and government. At the core of his work is a bold thesis that Africa's biggest challenge is not effort, but the lack of data-driven systems, and that those who solve this will define the future of entire industry. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished men and women, it is with deep respect that I call up to the stage for his goodwill message, the serial entrepreneur himself and founder of Polygate Group, Mr. David Odige, for his goodwill message. Please put your hands together as he makes his way up the stage. Please keep clapping till he gets here. Entrepreneur himself, Mr. David. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to map out my story onto Nigeria's greater context. Why? One of the speakers earlier said, Nigeria is blessed, and it's really, really true. Not only do we have oil, not only do we have gold, not only do we have the deposits of gas that rival countries such as Russia, but we also have things many countries don't have. We have 250 human talented people. I'm always saying Nigeria's problem isn't that we don't know what to do. It's that the systems in which we make our decisions are not clear. And that is what Polygate is here to solve. Let me give you an example. So in the agriculture sector, we have vast lands, hundreds and thousands of square meters. But a farm in Kano doesn't know that there's a shortage of tomatoes in Nasarawa or in Warri. Why? because there is no data. There is no information. I was talking to a very large hotel and the CEO of a very large hotel in Lagos here. You know what he told me? He said that all the prices every single night are the same. I've ran a hospitality business before, and I'm like, you're losing out on a lot of money. Why? Because some nights you're going to be able to charge higher, and some nights you're going to be able to charge lower. Why? Because the demand is different. So what Polygate is building is at the intersection of data and economics. And like the wonderful woman who introduced me earlier, I've been in business for 14 years. I started my first business when I was 14 with $600. I bought 2 shoes and I flipped that into multi 6 figures. I then pivoted into cryptocurrency. Then I came back to Nigeria. Why did I come back to Nigeria? I'm glad you asked. Because Nigeria, like I said earlier, is a jewel. We just need to know how to harness this jewel and actually get the diamonds out of this jewel. Because at the end of the day, this is our country. This is all we got, ladies and gentlemen. This is all we got. We need to do better. We need to know things better. And another thing that I'm just kind of confused about is the expectations that we have of ourselves in this country. So let me give you guys a small anecdote. I went to school in California, and we didn't have light for 3 days. When I tell you, the students, we almost rioted. Why? Because as American students, we expect light. But if it's Nigeria, they can say things like, oh, you get as you be now, in Nigeria we did. But no, it's not like that. We have to demand more from ourselves. Because at the end of the day, if we don't demand from ourselves, who will? I want to end this up with a small something. So what I'm saying is that Nigeria, we need to look internally. We need to figure out, we need to really find who we are and ask ourselves a question. Are we doing our best? Thank you.
Thank you so much for that keynote goodwill message. Now, I'm particularly excited for the next personality that I have the singular honor of calling up the stage. When we started, I said I was going to do a cartwheel, and I'm not sure. I think I've changed my mind. So that I can remain intact. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is still the 100 Iconic Personalities Business and Leadership Summit 2026, and I am honored to welcome to the stage for her keynote address. But before I call her name, let me just read her profile. Dr. Kafayat Oluwatosin Shafao. I have to take that again. Dr. Kafayat Oluwatosin Shafao, popularly known as Kafi Dance. She's globally known as Kafi. She is a transformation architect, building scalable systems across leadership, wellness, and the creative economy. Internationally recognized for breaking the Guinness World Record for the longest party and pioneering Africa's first structured and registered dance academy and company. Kafi has evolved from cultural icon to institutional builder over the past 2 decades. What began as a mastery of movement has matured into mastery of transformation. Today, CAFI designs high-impact frameworks that converts talent into structure, passion into profit, and vision into sustainable institutions. Through wellness leadership, creative capital architecture, and executive transformation strategy, she equips high-capacity leaders, entrepreneurs, and creatives to scale without burnout and to win with resilience. She is the amiable founder and CEO of CAFI Incorporated, a multi-vertical ecosystem that includes CAFI Creative Agency, Ijoda Wellness Body-Mind Performance Systems, CAFI Buzz Academy, and the CAFI Foundation Youth and Social Impact Initiative, among many evolving ventures. More than a legend, CAFI in African dance represents a new model of African excellence, one that fuses discipline, embodiment, strategy, and scalable systems. Ladies and gentlemen, please, you guys you have to do this one for me. Please put your hands together as I make welcome to the stage the Guinness World Record holder and CEO and founder of Dawntrepreneur, CAFI, Dr. CAFI. Please put your hands together for her, ladies and gentlemen. Well done.
Thank you so much, EJ. Good morning, everybody, distinguished guests. I'll be standing on the existing protocols in the House. All our guest speakers, ambassadors, and leaders from different sectors of the economy. I've been charged to speak, still sitting on our theme, the Africa that we want. And the topic I've been given is talent as a tool for positioning Africa as a new generation of change. One thing that I know, and we've emphasized it, our world coach has also emphasized it this morning when he talked about the resources that's embedded within Africa. We talked about the diamond, we talked about the gold, we talked about so many minerals and wealth within us. But one area that wealth resides within is in the creative space. And creativity comes from a place of natural occurrence of expression of self, which is where we see the gift, the talent, the gift that we carry. And we have suffered in Africa for many reasons economically, and we've relied so much on leadership and infrastructure to be created for us to be able to sustain what is just basic requirements of life. However, in the past couple of decades, the creative industry has shattered a lot of those dependencies. While people can be in their room, in their home, and they're making revenue, income off the back of the creativity within them, off the back of photography. Now we have influencers. You can be in your home somewhere in Abakaliki and have a fantastic personality, be on TikTok, and you can sell absolutely anything. And we all smile and are happy about some of this amazing accomplishment that has been done across different sectors of the economy, whether it's through comedians, artists, musicians, dancers, film industry. All of this resides within that bedrock of the creative ecosystem. However, we are still operating in that needle in the haystack system where we celebrate that one person will blow, that one person that blow. You know, we are over 200 million people in Nigeria, but more than half our youth want to be on Big Brother Nigeria, because when we blow, then everything blows. We're forgetting that that is just one, getting into the door without knowing what to do when you get through the door is another major problem. And it still boils down to what Uncle Ali Baba was trying to emphasize today, which is the mindset shift. If we do really want to use talents as a tool, like I have done, right? Because I am not here to speak on what it is that has not been put in practice. And a lot of the leaders here are people who have actually shuttered doors, created tables when they were not invited on those tables, and put their own chair where the table exists, and they just have to shift people and say, you got to listen to me. And it requires a lot of talent. It requires talent to negotiate. It requires talent to be able to read the room. It requires talent. It's a special grace and gift it requires to even express who you are and thrive within an economy that is not even developed infrastructurally, is not even developed economically, or systems to even help you navigate how to even create a marketplace in the first place. I come from such economies where I started 25 years ago a dance career without an industry that exists. They don't even pay anybody. I only had talent, right? So does talent alone, does it work? No. Talent, can be consumed just like the same thing you do when you see an apple on a tree. It's an apple on a tree. It's very attractive, and once it is ripe, it falls, you grab it, you eat it, and go. And that is what we've been doing with the talent in Africa. We've just been consuming it. We have not really understood how to harness it and make it sustainable in an economic aspect of it. I am just one individual that have done it for myself. I've created a system, an ecosystem out of using my talent in dance and converting it by looking for a problem and creating a solution across multiple sectors. So dance, yes, is something that you watch and you like and you enjoy, but in itself, in its innate space, it is used in the health sector, it is used in fashion, it's used in film, it's used in education, it is used for cognitive degenerative diseases to improve human functions. And I can go on the plethora of ways that dance is even very valuable to mankind's productivity that a lot of people are not even aware about. And that is one of the major issues that we have in Africa today. We only see talent from the place of validation and dopamine hits. We are not realizing that there's one thing that the government does not have power over, or does not have a switch on or off button over. It's your talent, it's your innate talent. It's your ability to express yourself, it's your ability to look at your environment and provide a solution that is immediately a need for the people within your community. And that is a talent that we need to harness for the Africa that we want. It is that we are getting to that point whereby we're not going to be waiting for 4 years to finish in the university. Are you going to wait for 4 years to eat? Or 4 years to survive, or 4 years to sustain, or 4 years to put a roof over your head? Now we are trickling down and putting more pressure on undeveloped mindset, undeveloped youth who are still trying to figure out what to do with the so-called talent. And we are relying on them as breadwinners. And that is what we are doing, putting a lot of pressure. So how do we move along from this? Talent is never a problem in Africa. Passion is never a problem. I think we're one of the most resilient, I would say it, humans, Homo sapiens in the world. Wherever we are, Africans survive. So there's no need, there's already a proof of concept that we can survive anywhere, especially Nigeria. The Nigerian spirit even affects other Africans. I have a lot of African friends and they are inspired by the Nigerian spirit. They don't wonder why we like suffering. It's like we wear suffering as a cloak of honor. It has become nobility. Who suffer more? Nigerians. Who can take more BS? Nigerians. And it starts from the mentality that we are speaking about. It's a mental evolution that needs to occur. And like Uncle Ali Baba said, and he kept emphasizing it to our speaker in the fireside chat, that we keep trying to fix this thing from leadership. A leadership that, as much as we can hold them for one or two policies, the home is still the basic system that we all still have control over. As much as you want Tinubu to come and fix something in your area, you have to be your first Tinubu first. A lot of us are not even governing ourselves at home. We're not even obeying simple community rules and regulations. We're not. We are already vetoing what you are claiming your leaders are doing to you. We are already practicing some of those behaviors just from a community level, just within our environment, from neighbor to neighbor. We don't even show that much concern or patriotism because we are not taught what it looks like. So yes, the family system is one area where talent needs to be harnessed. Like I said, a child from 2-year-old is prepared for learning. The mind needs to be prepared for secondary, nursery, not just push them into a system that is also a box. You cannot harness talent by just waiting for it to nurture itself. We need to develop the spirit of nurturing. We need to develop the spirit of waiting for something to blossom and stop waiting for the blow syndrome. Because whatever you blow without sustenance will blow away. It's one of the reasons why people are consistently looking for crazy things and ideas to do on the internet to continue to sustain the madness that got them there in the first place. And we are here clapping, and we are here platforming a lot of scenarios that are causing decadence in the mindset of the youth of the population. And the reason why the youth is one of the major concern, and should be a major concern to every individual here, because all of you are brother, sister, uncle, mommy, daddies, to one person or youth or the other, is because the data doesn't lie. Over 70% of our population in Africa are young people. Youth. So we cannot hide the fact that is facing us. That every young child born today, every 14 years old, 15 years old, 11-year-old, 10-year-old, is the constituent or constitutes to be the citizenry that is going to lead or you're going to be involved in the next 10, 15 years. That 10-year-old is a 25-year-old you're going to meet tomorrow. That 15-year-old is the 30-year-old that is going to be your next chairman. So while we are worried about the one not getting it right now, can we also worry about those of us that can still help those that can get it right? And I think those are the things that we can help. And how do we enforce this? Yes, this is where government comes in. Trust me, the government, even with the fact that they're failing in certain areas, they themselves need help. Can we also look at it that it's almost like a case of a blind man, and you're saying, lead me, and he's saying, to where, right? We also need to realize that the governance itself is overwhelmed, and there's a lot of performative things that are being done to try and create what seemingly looks like a balanced system. But we all know where the rot is. And in order to do that, we need to support the system, which is where those of us that are leaders in here can create avenues, voices, platforms, where we can charge the policymakers to create policies that say, okay, don't worry, you don't need to know, go out to the field to do it. Let us do it. But create the avenue that empowers us to be able to carry out these things that we already do on your behalf, but we carry it with charge. So that's the charge we all have in this room, where we need more togetherness, we need more intentional, patriotic, based projects to know that, okay, this project is going to take us from point A to point B, from one community to the other, and we are doing it as a unit rather than as individuals. And to my closing, we need to look at talent from three ways. We need to look at talent as culture. Like our keynote speakers have said, if you don't develop the culture of something, you're not going to be able to create anything from it. Okay? It's an innate thing. For a lot of young people in the house, I started with dance. You don't have any excuse. With your hairdresser, with your photography, with your whatever it's a painting, you can be on this podium on one day. Taking charge, having conversations that can change your nation. One person can do it, one person at a time. We don't need the whole Nigeria to get it. We need a few people that can actually create impact. But we need to develop the culture for excellence first, not for effort. Every Nigerian wants to be paid for effort, not for excellence. Then we need to look at talent as an economy. Where there is demand and supply, there's already business. Treat your talent as a business model. Stop treating it as a hobby that is just hustling and giving you money. Because when you continue to do it like that, it's not sustainable, and you cannot develop a system from there. And thirdly, talent as a system, where multiple people are creating solutions for the need of his people. When they come together, they can create a network, they can create a system, that now they can create a channel that continues to pay revenue generation, which at the end of the day, when it trickles down, it can affect the GDP of the nation. Why? Because even statistics say that over 60% of our youth are now into the creative ecosystem. So creative is becoming the new oil. It is the new oil. But systems are what are going to make it sustainable and scale to a macroeconomic level. I know I've said a lot already. I have a lot more here, but our policymakers, our leaders, this is our charge. We're not going to be here celebrating all our own accolades and validating ourselves and receiving awards, but we're also using these platforms to challenge one another, to say, I know you are living and working to survive for yourself, but let's be intentional. No nation that has crashed survived that crash or built itself back up without the individual effort of the people within that system. Like, I don't know if it's Uncle Ali that used Singapore as an example, or one of our speakers used Singapore as an example. An economy that collapsed totally. And see where they are able to build up. It involved all individuals of the economy, of their geographic location. We Nigerians cannot be complacent. We cannot continue to be keyboard warriors and expect a change within us. And we don't really have to use violence, but we need to react violently towards what we do not want. When I say that, means that you inside of you will say, I need to be excellent in what I am doing. And that's the kind of violence we're talking about, the one that has a positive impact towards the output of who you are. Because you don't have to wait to be Davido, Tiwa Savage, or Kwali Baba, or Davido, or Don Jazzy, or anybody before you believe that you have a voice. You have a voice as long as you are talking to your maid, your help, your nanny, your son, your sister, your brother. Some of the people in power are your uncles, aunties. Some of them, you need them to stay in that power so that you can get favors. Do us a favor too. Talk to them about the kind of policies that can change and make talent become not only something we consume for dopamine, but something that we can use to repair our nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, DJ. Thank you so much. So, first of all, that was so... Yes, please, you may have your seats very quickly. How many of us enjoy that? Talk about a keynote address. If you enjoy that, can you say, we love you, Dr. Kathy? Thank you so much. That was so powerful. And out of many things that she talked about, I dare say that I am a believer that every talent can be turned into a lucrative avenue, regardless of what you do. You know, when she talked about we all have a voice. As a voiceover artist myself, I know if I come into the audience and ask you, who's a voiceover artist? A very funny story, but it's going to be very brief. I booked a cab one time, and then we got into a conversation, the cab driver and myself. And he was like, what do you do? I was like, oh God, here we go. Okay. I'm a professional voiceover artist. He was like, wow. So you sing soprano? I was like, no sir, like I do voiceover. And you know, voicing, I said, no, like, okay, I now had to like literally start explaining, you know, what it was all about. But yes, Dr. Kathy, thank you so, so much. This was the charge that we all needed this morning, to be reminded that we all have a purpose. We all have a voice. Once more, thank you. I'll do my cartoon outside for you, don't worry. So moving on very quickly, we are going to be having a very powerful fireside chat. And the people who are going to be on this fireside chat, might I say, are very, very powerful and inspiring people. 1 second, please. DJ, please, you can give us a little music. Okay, thank you so much, DJ. We just wanted to give them a chance to set up the space properly. So now we're going to be having a very insightful fireside chat. I'm seeing a lot of names that inspire me on a very personal level. But ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. Make noise. I need you to celebrate the woman that I'm about to call up the stage today because, like I said, she inspires me on a very personal level. Skin like milk, always looking so pretty, regardless of what she wears. A serial entrepreneur, CEO. Please put your hands together as I make welcome to the stage Dr. Princess Kelechi Ogene, the founder and GMD of G-Might Group. Please put your hands together as she makes her way up the stage. We gotta keep clapping. We can do better than that. We can do better than that. Not only is she a serial entrepreneur, she is one who believes in women empowerment. She's one who believes in innovation and entrepreneurship. Thank you so much. Thank you. You can have your seat here. Okay. In case many of you don't know, she's also the organizer of the GAR Awards and Business Summit, and I happen to also be a host during the past edition last year in 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Princess Kelechi Ogene. Please put your hands together for her one more time. Thank you. Now, to moderate this fireside chat, I have the honors of making welcome to the stage Ambassador Sunmian Orien, the founder of Cool Days Media. Please put your hands together. Please keep clapping, keep clapping, keep clapping, keep clapping. Thank you so much. I kindly ask that we keep this brief. Thank you so much. Yes.
Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, this presence is intimidating. Alright, so in this section, we're basically going to be talking about the role that influence, identity, and the role that influence and identity has to play in the Africa, in building the Africa we want. Yes, and we have the perfect guest for that. Because talking about influence and identity, this is someone that has built a bold personal brand for herself surrounded around confidence, lifestyle, and digital presence. Yes, so you see why I say this presence is intimidating. So I hope to learn a lot from this as well, and I hope we all learn a lot from it as well. You're looking very gorgeous today, man. All right, so.
Praise the Lord.
So before we go, is that good?
Hi. Hello, can everyone hear me?
Oh, do you switch? Let's try this one. Hello.
Can everyone hear me now? Praise the Lord. Okay.
Okay, that's beautiful. So before we begin, I want to throw one question first. Let's talk about the theme for this year's program, the Africa we want. We've been talking about it. It has echoed on stage. I want to know what it means to you. The Africa we want, like personally, what does it mean to you?
The Africa we want. The Africa we want is a lot for me. Especially because I know I'm one of those people that do the work in real time. Like I tell my team, and everywhere I get the opportunity to, I am not a motivational speaker. I am an action learning, practical leader, right? So I want an Africa that when I put in the work, I get good reward. I want an Africa that I don't need to work till I'm 100 before I start seeing results. I need or deserve an Africa that when I leave this world, my business will not die because I have put in so much work. The Africa we want, for me, is an Africa that, because we are helping the government to solve problems, because like our doctor here mentioned, they can't do it by themselves. They are currently overwhelmed. They look into what we are doing and empower us that are doing the work for them. The Africa I want is an Africa that would help me stop paying diesel, as at today is 2,205 naira. That's crazy. The Africa I want is an Africa that just empower SMEs, an Africa where opportunities as well is provided, you know, especially in rooms like this. And we that have value to offer connect and assess, you know, whatever value that we have in this room. For example, to execute that dream, that big dream that we have. The Africa I want, again, like I said, is too many things, and I can go on and on and on, but that is it for now. Thank you.
Okay, I think we definitely relate, because I know I do. That's Africa I want to.
Right, thank you.
So let's talk about you as Dr. Princess Kelechi Ogene. Who was Dr. Princess before your brand? And like, what point did you decide, okay, I have to create this identity for myself, create this brand, this personal brand for myself?
Okay, that's a beautiful question. Who was Princess Ogene? So, I have always been a hardworking girl. So, the entire week, I've been using one of the things or statements that I saw online. If not the fear of poverty, waiting, hardworking, they do for my resume. I don't know if any of you have seen that. Yeah? If you've seen that, please raise up your hand. Yeah, if not the fear of poverty, waiting, hardworking, they do for my resume. Now, I've been an entrepreneur for over 2 decades. So when I tell you I have paid my dues as an entrepreneur, is a fact. Now, I remembered when I used to just work and work and work without structure. I used to be that girl that when you see me, I need to prove that I'm hardworking. You see me work. I'm working Monday to Sundays. I'm working no time limits, like 9 to as the spirit leads, overworking my employees as well, without result, right? Going to work every day and having matters arising, right? Issues, different issues to sort because there's no structure. That was the Princess Ogene before. But today, with intentionality, with structure, I have been able to set smart goals that enables the team work for just some certain hours with magnificent key results, and then which also enables me the time to look good, to develop myself, to expand our capacity, build even more businesses, and influence with impact and not packaging. Yes, thank you.
Yes, you can clap, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, now that was amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
And now I can see your brand is mostly around aesthetics, fashion, lifestyle. Yeah. Now, aside these, what does your brand represent beyond aesthetics, beyond fashion, beyond lifestyle? What would you say your brand represents?
So, if you were at the meet and greet yesterday, one of my, okay, so I told the team that attended that I am a lot of things, right? My brand represents a lot of things. It depends on who I am speaking with. So if you're in the fashion space, what my brand represents is fashion education. Now, fashion education is, for me, is not just teaching people how to cut and sew, but ensuring that they get the right training to become entrepreneurs. So our slogan is creating the next generation of fashion entrepreneurs. And over the years, we've actually done over 12,000 by the grace of God. And we have also not just trained these entrepreneurs, but empowered them with tools like sewing machines and all of that so that they can start their businesses, right? So if you're looking to have visibility, then my brand is a publisher, because we have the GAR Elite Club magazine, where over the years again, I do like interviews on the study businesses and position entrepreneurs that are championing excellence and legacy. You know, preach their good work and change the narrative on like what the Western world know about Africans. Now we're doing the work. We have a lot of entrepreneurs here, you know, that are doing the work. So I try as much as possible to give them the platform, you know, so that they can shine and also connect to opportunities. Now for the GAR Awards and Business Summit, that's a platform where we have discussions like this, and then by the grace of God, we've also empowered hundreds of, you know, people across different sectors. So say education, you know, entrepreneurs, people in the business world, politicians, and all of that. So the bottom line is we carefully select them so that we're not just honoring people because of what they have, you know, online, but we do the work to ensure that they have created impact. They are mentoring, they are helping, you know, they're transferring knowledge and all of that. And then because they have also, you know, this wealth of knowledge to transfer, it gives us, you know, the opportunity to create that platform where even the young ones can connect. Now, we also have the GAR Elite Club, where, I mean, the GAR Elite Club is becoming the parent company now for the GAR Group, because under that we have all of these platforms that, you know, is just a room for opportunities for people from different works, different sectors, you know, to connect. And then there are opportunities like positioning their business. So when you come into our community, for instance, tomorrow we're going to be hosting 40 to 50 women, okay, and we're going to be having panelists, you know, sessions like this, like proper discussions, keynote speaking engagement, and award. But the most important thing is to ensure that we have the right people in the room so that quality value is exchanged. Now, when that is done, you know, of course, it's again back to the Africa we want, but that is what we're doing. So my brand is a lot, but it depends on, you know, again, who I'm speaking with. But bottom line is creating an opportunity for people that have something to offer, to excel, to shine, and then also to exchange value. One important thing that we also do is we don't stop at individuals. We ensure to champion their businesses. Anytime we have our event, anytime we have, you know, something for them to connect to. So thank you.
Beautiful. So,
Thank you.
We've gotten to know your brand. Let's talk about Africa's future. I want to discuss it from the side of the angle of digital creators, because that has become a popular trend now. This age is really digital. We have a lot of creators coming up, popping up from every angle in different niches. So what do you think? How do you see the role of digital creators in shaping Africa's future?
Okay, so that's another good question. Now, it's important that we all connect to the digital age, because that is the new luxury and currency. right? I know how my brand have moved from 0 to 100 because of the digital, platforms that we currently have. Now, I give you a practical example. So, unlike before that we have the traditional marketing style, where you need to go to offices to drop proposals and flyers and all of that. With just one post on social media, you can actually reach thousands of people. Am I communicating? Are we together? Yeah. Okay. Now, majority of the students for the academy that we have actually came from the social platform. And the reason why we're able to achieve that is because of the creatives that we have in-house and outsourced that were able to put my vision to light. And I'm sure they're also doing, that for most of the entrepreneurs and SMEs in this room, right? So the digital age is no longer something that we should just look away from, especially those entrepreneurs that will say, I'm shy, I don't want to be in front of the camera. Is a platform that is helping us shape the narrative, shape our stories, tell our stories the way we want to tell it, right? So it's a theme of luxury at the moment. Thank you.
Okay. Now, still on the topic of digital creations, digital creators, we have different niches we see online these days. People do lots of things for content's sake, right? A lot of people now use social media as a platform to show off soft life, luxury, living and all, because they want to be seen as very important. Some are, that's their real life, but some, it's not actually, we call it fake life in Nigeria.
Fake it until you make it.
Until you make it, yeah? But now, since there are a lot of soft life contents out there, a lot of soft life creators, do you see this as a distraction for African youths, for young people in Africa, for Africa in general? Do you see this as a distraction?
So it can be two ways, okay? That's subject to discussion. Now, if you are in the limelight, or if you have a page, and I go to your page and I am not seeing value in your page, then that is a distraction, right? Digital tools are not just for masters of keyboards, that those people that hide behind the keyboards to just do nonsense online, or just create content for the hype of it. Majority of the content creators now, from research, are actually earning in millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? So soft life for me is, if you can back it up with what you earn. I tell myself, if I cannot afford it twice, then I don't crave it, right? So if they look at your brand and the lifestyle, the luxury lifestyle, soft life that you have, and they cannot trace it back to your business or the foundation or the impact you have made, then it becomes a distraction. I mean, I look like soft life, but I do the work. I can afford whatever you are seeing. But if it's just packaging, which is the fake it until you make it, then it becomes distraction. But you can actually earn loads of money. You can position yourself if you become intentional with leveraging the digital tools. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, we'll say the industry you're in, your business, your brand is surrounded in a very, very solid, attention-driven industry. Basically, that's the industry you're in right now. Drawing a lot of attention, a lot of people have their eyes on you, want to see what you do next, want to see how you look. Even right now, people on social media look down to the wrist. How many times you've worn that wristwatch? So, how does this affect you? How do you stay disciplined and focused?
So discipline, for me, is not a choice. I don't have a choice. Now, experience has taught me that if I am distracted, it affects my bottom line, right? I don't live my life to please people. Before I decided to start doing this limelight thing, brand positioning and all of that, I did the work. I laid the foundation, right? Again, like I mentioned, I had to put in structures before, even having time to come do like all the speaking engagements and all of that. So discipline for me is not optional because it would affect my bottom line. I give you another example. I am one big person that invests a lot. And by the grace of God, every month, because of the numerous businesses that I do, I get to earn some amount of, of funds or money. Now, I can as well decide to buy new clothes every day, buy new cars almost every time. But I am disciplined enough to know that I have to invest more than do shopping all the time. I mean, if you go online and you check some of my videos, I'm sure you've seen me carry this bag over 7 times because I bought it with my money. It actually shows that I'm the owner of this bag. I didn't rent it. This outfit, I'm going to wear it as much as I like. This shoe, I wear it all the time, because it suits me and I bought it with my money. Right? So I don't live my life for people. I invest more. And in fact, when I invest, let me give you a practical example. You invest in maybe 500 million, for instance. In a year, you get 100 million naira. Now, if you invest 100 million naira again, you get about 20-something million naira. So discipline has taught me that the only thing I can spend is not that first 100 million naira, because I need to ensure that I invest that one, is to even reinvest the 20 million naira, to invest the 100 million naira, and then the 20 million naira probably just take only 5 million naira for my beauty routine and my, personal expenses, but continue to invest. Discipline for me again is also, doing the right thing, putting in structures, taking in everything that I'm doing one step at a time so that I can get key results with excellence, disciplining myself, my employees, everybody, without anybody watching. Discipline for me again is also not waiting to be motivated so I can aspire to perspire, right? But to do the right thing when no one is watching so that I can get key results every day and every time. Thank you.
Okay, that was beautiful. I'm sure we all enjoyed hearing our doctor speak. Personally, I learned a lot from all she has said, but I'm going to ask one last question. 3 words, I just need a 3-word response from you. A young, creative African wants to build a personal brand for himself or herself. 3 things they need to get right.
So I don't do anything without structure, and so I have blueprints for almost everything.
Structure?
Right? Yeah, structure. Before I do anything, I go back to my template for consistency. So I'm consistent with everything that I do. And that's why you see that even our events have standard, the school platform or templates, whatever that we do have standard. So consistency, discipline, structure. Structure is very important. And then intentional positioning. Intentional positioning. Remember I mentioned if I go to your page, what do I see? Do I see value? If I don't see value, then that is a problem. So if you want to have a good business, right, especially as young entrepreneurs, you must ensure to be disciplined, be consistent, have structure, and position yourself, especially when you're in rooms like this with opportunities. When you meet someone that can create value or that can probably even invest in you, that can do something with you, do you have value to exchange, right? Yeah, so that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, so 3 words: discipline, structure,
consistency.
Beautiful. So thank you very much for the do we have time for a Q&A? Cool. So thank you very much for being part of this discussion today. I learned a lot, and I'm sure my fellow Africans learned a lot as well. So this is what we believe in digital time. So we're going to have to run this off here. I hope we have to continue this discussion later, maybe privately. Yeah, but I have to keep learning. Or do you want to charge me for mentorship?
Of course. I charge mentorship fees. Nothing is free anymore. Time is money, so yeah, I charge mentorship.
I expect a discount in that regard. All right, thank you very much, Dr.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that powerful and amazing fireside chat. And of course, officially, I know Dr. Kelechi already mentioned, but tomorrow we are having a very private gathering of women to celebrate International Women's Day, proudly brought to you by GAR. And of course, the convener is Dr. Kelechi, so I do expect to see all of us women there as well. So I'd like to call up the CEO of Iconic International Holdings, Ms. Tino Tender Michelle Shavondra, to present an award to Dr. Kafayat Oluwatoyin Shafal, better known as Kafi Dance or Dr. Kafi. Please put your hands together as they come up the stage. Let's have the CEO of Iconic International Holdings, Ms. Michelle. Is she in the hall? Is Ms. Michelle in the hall? Thank you so much. Let's have all the photographers, please. Let's have all the photographers in front so we can capture this beautiful moment. Photographers, thank you so much. This is what the 100 Iconic Personalities of the Year is all about, celebrating powerful individuals. And might I say, Dr. Kafi is also a very phenomenal woman, a serial entrepreneur and an innovator. Congratulations, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's an honor. Please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Okay, I want to dedicate this award. I like the word. I like the fact that it's iconic. It's an icon, and I had a rare opportunity to have someone that has always supported me with my vision, and especially when we are trying to scale on ideas of helping young people. And he's sitting right there, and his Uncle Ali Baba. I see right there, and I really want to dedicate this award to you, and just even see you display who you are. We're taking pictures here, and you're already involved. This is who he is. Like, Uncle Baba is not one of those people that just say he helps people. Like, he's like that. You go to him, he's thinking of how to solve, how to expand you. I bring people to him. He looks, okay, you brought someone to me, how do I expand them as well? This is for you, people like you. You're the one that helped us be here, supporting me for my conferences, my events, all the good things you've done in the comedy, and you've gone beyond comedy. So I want to say, I want to really dedicate this award to you, Uncle Ali. Thank you so much for being a father, an uncle, a guide. Thank you. God bless you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you, Mr. DJ. Congratulations, Dr. You see, when she was talking about, Uncle Ali Baba, she said something. She said he's always there to help. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Africa we want. Please put your hands together one more time. Now, very quickly, I'd like to make welcome our next keynote speaker for today's very auspicious event, and I'm going to read her profile very quickly. Dr. Mrs. Amarachi Chinwoke Okuwobi is an MBA holder of Business School of Netherlands on Organizational Structure, Action Learning. She is a former senior special advisor to the former governor of Abia State, and she worked as a senior marketing supervisor in one of Nigeria's largest financial industry. As a seasoned business leader and entrepreneur, known for her expertise in leadership development, professional advice, support and change management, and a team builder. Dr. Mrs. Amarachi Chinwoke is a serial entrepreneur, founder of Diamond Infinity Empowerment Foundation. With her results-oriented approach and ability to navigate challenging business environment, she proudly supports and dedicates time to startups, mentoring entrepreneurs, and above all, a seasoned empowerment chief she is. Dr. Mrs. Amarachi Chinwoke is deeply passionate in her field of career. Thank you so much, DJ. So, Bob, I know you want to talk so bad, but I need to complete your profile because we need to know who you are. Okay, so her entrepreneurship achievement has earned her so many recognitions and awards from various notable organizations. Her commitment to humanity, especially in women and young women empowerment, is a testament of her personality. Her resilience in amplifying the voices of an extraordinary women in Africa is what we see today as the convener of Talented Women Network Africa and publisher of Talented Women magazine. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Dr. Mrs. Amarachi Chinwoke Okwobi as she gives her keynote address. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so honored to be in your midst this afternoon. Like you said, I want to sincerely appreciate everyone, especially the organizers of these events. I want to sincerely express my heartfelt appreciation for the honor of inviting me to be part of these significant events. Like you said, my name is Dr. Mrs. Amarachi Chinwoke Okwobi, fondly known as United Mama. They call me United Mama because I'm a minister of God. I'm a woman that loves God. Former special advisor to the former governor of Abia State on media. I'm the founder of Talented Women Network Africa, a platform committed to raising visibility, value, and voice for women across the continent. I am also an executive producer of Amplify Her podcast, where we share the stories of women doing extraordinary things and help them step boldly into their purpose by amplifying their values. So, the topic of the day is very interesting one. Because when we talk about Africa, the Africa we want, we are not talking about dreams. We are talking about responsibility. Just as one of the African biggest poets wrote in one of his poems, I hope we all know Davido. He wrote, Africa, my Africa. He said, Africa, my Africa, Africa of proud warriors in our central savannas, Africa of whom my grandmother sings. He said, in the banks of the distant rivers I've never known you, but your blood flows in my vein. This is so powerful. It reminds me that Africa is not weak. And he describes Africa as a continent of strength and identity. And that is the Africa we are standing in today. That line is not just a poetry, it is an identity. It is a memory and a responsibility. It reminds us that Africa is not a continent of limitation. It is a continent of strength, dignity, and untapped greatness. So, distinguished audience, I stand before you this evening, this afternoon, not just as a speaker, but as a voice for a rising generation. A new Africa that refuses to inherit limitation and chooses instead to build transformation. Now, do you agree with me that Africa does not lack talents. Can I hear a voice from the crowd? Do Africa lack a talent? We don't. Because the truth is this, Africa is not behind, Africa is becoming. Let me say something very important. The Africa we want will not be built by wishes, but by owning our responsibilities, by restructuring with consistency. For a very long time, governance and systems has failed us. But even as we acknowledge that no nation rises without change, let me say this, excellence is not perfection. It is an intentional discipline. Excellence comes from doing small things right consistently, even when it is inconvenience. And what does that mean? It means showing up to work prepared, even no one is watching. You work without supervision. Replying to emails on time, keeping your words, and delivering quality, even when it will be easier to cut corners. It means a contractor choosing to the right material, even when cheaper alternative promises to be faster profits. Because one right decision today can save a nation tomorrow. It also means a woman celebrating another woman's success without intimidation. It also means collaborating rather than competing. Speaking the truth when it comes to uncomfortable, any integrity when compromise seems easier, that is maturity.